What if everything you've been chasing is quietly pulling you away from the life you actually want? What if your idea of success, the one you've worked so hard to achieve, was never truly yours to begin with? We live in a world where more is the answer to every question. More productivity, more goals, more hustle, more self-improvement. But have you ever stopped to wonder, more of what? For what reason? At what cost? Because in our relentless pursuit of becoming someone, we may be slowly forgetting how to be. In this video, we're going to question the very idea of progress, dismantle the illusion of constant growth, and explore why so many of us feel empty, even when we're doing everything right. Not with surface-level advice, but by going deep into philosophy, psychology, and timeless human truth. This isn't just about slowing down, it's about waking up. Welcome to Thinxile. There is a dream many people carry, quietly, invisibly, called someday. Someday, I'll finally feel free. Someday, I'll have time. Someday, I'll be the version of myself I've always wanted to be. We organize our lives around this future self. We build resumes, we chase status, we tick boxes and climb ladders and accumulate followers. But what if someday is a mirage? What if you never actually arrive? Because every version of yourself you catch gives birth to another you to chase. This is the exhausting game of self-improvement as self-avoidance. We're so busy becoming that we forget to simply be. We love the word success. We write about it, we dream about it, we post it, but we rarely define it, at least not on our own terms. Instead, we absorb definitions from culture, from school, from movies, from parents, from motivational speakers, from social media highlight reels. And without realizing it, we chase a version of life that never truly belonged to us. We become high-performing strangers to ourselves. We wear the suit, speak the lines, follow the script, but inside, something feels off because we're succeeding at someone else's dream. What if success was not something you achieved, but something you noticed? Not a title, but a texture. Not an outcome, but a way of being. Could you be successful and invisible? Could you be successful and quiet? Could you be successful and still? Stillness has become almost threatening. Think about the last time you sat in silence with no screen, no task, no noise. What did you feel? Boredom? Restlessness? Maybe even anxiety? Stillness is a kind of mirror, and most of us are afraid of what we'll see when the distractions are gone. So we fill every gap. We fill it with tasks, with entertainment, with goals, with opinions, with the next big thing. And slowly, we build a life so full of movement that we forget what it means to truly arrive. In nature, everything grows, but not constantly. Trees have seasons, fields lie fallow, animals hibernate, even the moon disappears for a time. But we, humans, have been sold the myth of nonstop expansion, always rising, always gaining, always building. But what happens when we grow beyond our boundaries? In biology, that's called cancer. Uncontrolled, unnatural, never-ending growth. Without rest, without reason, is not strength. It's sickness. We must relearn what nature has always known, that to pause is not to fall behind, it's to become whole again. The hunger that consumes itself. You've probably heard the phrase, follow your passion. But here's a question most people never ask. What if your passion is just another form of hunger? What if you're feeding it endlessly, and yet it only grows more insatiable? There is a kind of hunger that builds through wanting, not because it isn't being fed, but because it's being fed the wrong things. The more we consume validation, attention, and external goals, the more we lose our taste for stillness, solitude, and slowness. We become spiritual fast food addicts, always eating, never nourished. The ordinary is sacred. Modern culture romanticizes extremes. The billionaire, the globetrotter, the influencer, the genius. But few people talk about the quiet heroism of the ordinary, of the person who wakes up early and waters their plants, who listens without needing to speak, who writes because it matters, even if no one reads, who shows up for their loved ones, not to impress them, but to love them. We call it just life. But maybe it's sacred. This is not a new crisis. The philosophers saw this coming. Lao Tzu warned, "To be content with what you have is to be rich." Pascal wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Thoreau escaped to the woods not to run away, but to wake up. Today, in a world more connected, more overstimulated than ever, their wisdom feels prophetic. We don't lack information. We lack integration. We don't need more content. We need more contemplation. What is enough? Enough work, enough love, enough things, enough self-improvement. To say this is enough in a world built on never enough is radical. It means stopping when everyone else is sprinting. It means celebrating what you already have, even while being told to want more. Imagine this. You never had to prove anything again. Not your intelligence, not your worth, not your usefulness, not your progress. Who would you be? How would you live? What would you notice? This is the invitation of presence, to live without performance, to belong to your own life, without needing an audience. In the end, maybe presence is not something you master. Maybe it's something you return to, over and over and over again. When the noise gets too loud, you return. When the speed becomes too much, you return. When you forget who you are, you return. Back to stillness, back to attention, back to what is. There is no final version of you waiting out there in the future. There is only this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this chance to be here, to be real, to be enough. If this video gave you something to think about, a pause, a breath, a deeper question, I hope you'll stay. Subscribe to Thinxile, where we explore the art of thinking deeply, living consciously, and asking what really matters. Drop a comment below. What does enough mean to you? Or when was the last time you truly felt present? Until next time, stay curious, stay conscious, stay close to what matters.